right, Mrs. Smith. Now we're going to talk about Steve's cognitive testing, which looks at his ability to think in different ways. So if we look up here at this bell curve, and the average range falls between 85 and 115. So right in this area, this middle area is where students are expected to fall. So Steve did have some strengths. One of his strengths was his GLR, which is his long-term memory, and that is his ability to store information and use it later on. So how this looks in the classroom is Steve, he is really good at recalling his times tables, and he is really good at recalling sight words because of his strength and his long-term memory. Another one of Steve's strength is his auditory processing. So this is his ability to hear and blend and manipulate sounds to make different or to read different words. And as his teacher reported, he is able to read on a fourth grade reading level. Steve did have some weaknesses, so his visual spatial did fall in the low range. This is his ability to look at. It's his ability of how he sees things. We call it the mind's eye. And another weakness that he had was his fluid reasoning, which is Steve's problem-solving ability. So this is how he can draw conclusions from either a text or just a situation. How can he process that information that's presented to him? And as his teacher reported, in his math class, he is able to read word problems, but he is struggling to take important information to be able to complete those correctly. Now we're going to take a look at Steve's achievement. So if we look up here at the top set, some of his strengths were his basic reading. So on the achievement test that Steve did, he was able to read nonsense words, so made up words. He was able to use his phonological awareness to blend those words together. And something that Steve did struggle with, he had two areas of concern, was his math problem solving. So as we talked about how he is unable to pull that pertinent information to complete the problem, and then his reading comprehension. So again, this falls directly with his deficit in his problem-solving abilities, because he is not able to draw conclusions from the information that's presented. So based on these multiple sources of data, Steve does qualify as having a specific learning disability in math problem solving and in reading comprehension.
Okay, thank you. And what this all means is that these following areas are most impacting Steve and his learning. The ability to obtain and hold information in one's mind and then use it within a short time frame. This includes working memory or the ability to attend to, process, and respond to information. Additionally, the type of thinking one uses when faced with a relatively new task that cannot be performed automatically is also impacted. Also included are the abilities to think about and generate, perceive, analyze, synthesize, store, retrieve, manipulate, transform, and think about visual patterns and stimuli. How this translates to the classroom setting is Steve's reading comprehension will be significantly impacted as this relates to paraphrasing, drawing inferences, determining main idea, and his all-around comprehension of grade-level text throughout his classes. Steve will demonstrate these weaknesses in his math class by exhibiting limited mental math skills, having trouble remembering procedures to complete problems, memorizing math facts, and thus demonstrating automaticity. Because these skills are vital building blocks for problem solving, Steve is most significantly impacted in the area of math problem solving as it pertains to apprehending relationships between numbers, using charts and graphs, alignment of numbers during computation, extracting information from problems, multi-step problems and regrouping, and all-around general reasoning and computational speed. There are many ways in which Steve's teachers can best provide instruction to meet his needs. In order to address Steve's deficits in the areas of reading comprehension, Steve would benefit from instructional strategies such as utilizing technology whenever possible. By providing audiobooks, Steve will have the opportunity to hone in on his strength in auditory processing in order to allow him to receive the information through another method than reading himself. Teachers are able to provide Steve with text-to-speech as an accommodation as well, which, when routinely and effectively used in the classroom, will also transfer as a STAR accommodation, helping to ensure his grades in the classroom, as well as on state testing, are a true reflection of his abilities. Another instructional strategy that will greatly help Steve with his reading comprehension is to pre-teach key vocabulary terms. Because one of Steve's strengths is his long-term memory and the ability to take and store information in his mind to later retrieve and apply, Steve could remember the vocabulary terminology in order to help assist with his overall comprehension, spanning all classes. By not only providing this as an instructional strategy, but by also providing a hard copy of vocabulary as an accommodation, Steve will have the opportunity to both learn the vocabulary and then refer to this information as needed while the lessons are being taught. In order to best help Steve in his math class, specifically in the area of math problem solving, an appropriate instructional strategy could include relating real-world applications to lessons. Examples include area and perimeter, and relating them to realistic examples of using these formulas. Surrounding the pool, as an accommodation to reflect on as needed, Steve will be able to independently understand mathematical operations and choose which one is appropriate for any given problems. All of these teaching strategies would help Steve in the classroom in a variety of academic environments. By honing in on his